Well, Happy New Year, everyone, every single Colombia Calling listener out there. This is episode 549. I'm Richard Mccoll, back here in Bogota after a little break. Our very special guest needs no introduction to any of you, because if you listen, well, he's one of the sponsors of the podcast. It's Bruce Mclean of BNBColombia Tours. Welcome on the podcast once again, and Happy New Year, Bruce.
Happy New Year to you too, Richard, and thanks for allowing me back on.
Well, it's a great pleasure as always, because it's nice to start the year. People have been away, people have been stressed, people have relaxed, so on and so forth. Holidays can be stressful. Holidays can be the rest and relaxation that you need. We're here. It's early January. For those people listening in Europe and North America, the nights are a lot longer. The days are shorter. We're down here, semi-equatorial. The days are always long. And so we can sell the idea of their next holiday and do a very nice, upbeat, positive podcast on travel and Colombian travel here for this episode. So Bruce, I want to ask you straight up, how was 2024 for you business-wise? What was Colombia's tourism market doing for you, for BNB Colombia?
Okay, for us, it started great. First 3 months of the year, great, just carried on from 23. It was going well, then it just started to go down. For us, we had a drop for about 6 months with not a lot. Seriously, it was a bit of like, what's going on? But it wasn't just us. And, as I talked to other operators, it's the same. It wasn't just Colombia, because I'm in a number of, groups, international ones, and, you talk to other ones and they're all going, it was happening worldwide.
Yeah.
A lot of it, my understanding, it's all international experiences that are going on, bad things, obviously. What happens in Israel affects us. What happens in Ukraine affects us. Biggest by far is elections in the US. That always affects us. This year, huge. And then it was just after the elections, all of a sudden, back to normal again. Yeah. So that's pretty much how it is for us. It's crazy, but that's how it is.
It's so amazing that these things should affect us so much. Obviously, we had, a good start to the year, and then it dropped off. I mean, this was the months where it was bad, it was worse than COVID. And I don't know how we even measure it, because it definitely felt worse than COVID for us. It really did. And then we had little things that picked us up. We have, some events and so on. And of course, we have a flow, fortunately, of some travel groups, but it was not a good year overall. First 3 months, good. Obviously, we're coming out of it now. High season Colombians, great. But we're looking towards, now we're in 2025, but we're looking at a positive year. Would you say the same?
Absolutely. These few months here already, we're getting so many inquiries. Still getting the inquiries. We're still getting a lot of people coming. 2026 is looking good. I'm getting the number of inquiries. I've got a really good one already for that. The future is brillante. I'm always saying it, but it's so true. Unless there's some other big international thing that has no relevance to Colombia that affects us, it's going to be amazing. Amazing this year.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. I think 2025 is very good. 2026, we're already getting, we've already got obviously some inquiries and so on. 2026, of course, is an election year for us here in Colombia, so that's always an interesting time. But it isn't as, it might stop Colombians from traveling in certain periods of the year, and that's my market for a great deal, but not your market at all. And you will be able to talk your clients over that, saying, you're not affected by this, you're not affected by this, and come, because nobody's traveling. It might be cheaper.
Exactly. It is. There's going to be more space. There's going to be, less travel on the road. There's a lot more, relaxing the travel when there's less people on the road, obviously. And it does. And I know some people get nervous around election time in Latin countries and that sort of stuff, but in reality, nothing ever happens in the locations, the tourist locations. If anything unsavory happens, it's out away. away.
Yeah.
It's in a small town somewhere far away where it's very sad it happens, but luckily it doesn't affect us, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we lament what goes on elsewhere, and it obviously does go on elsewhere around the country. But where you're traveling to and what you're doing in Colombia, even some of the outward, off-grid places that I know that you're promoting and so on, they're absolutely fine. I just saw, actually, I saw today, was it on LinkedIn that you guys are promoting travel to a national park? Was it Tame?
Tammy, might be. We promote a
Yeah.
lot of national parks
Yeah.
all the time. We're promoting everywhere that we take people. It's safe. Look, it's not places. I don't send anybody anywhere that I don't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I sort of gauge it. Basically, if I'm a little bit nervous and I don't know about going there, then I'm not going to send anybody else. So if it's somewhere that I would go, then I'll also send our travelers.
But you and I are both a little bit eccentric and unhinged. I mean, we live here, so we don't feel unsafe in too many places, I think.
Exact, but that's also the point, though. I mean, like I think we probably see more where a danger may be.
Yeah.
You know, if you are somewhere or I'm somewhere and you think, those are dodgy guys looking over there, I'll just walk this way. I'm pretty sure the average tourist will probably think very similar. And if they don't, then that's where they really need our help.
But that's why you come in. That's why you're there, and your expertise and your expert guides and whomever accompaniment is there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, this is all positive. It's all positive that we can talk about 2025 being a great year. And by all accounts, Colombia has made the lists of places to visit this year. Obviously, every year in the fluff period of reporting for international outlets, it's always about where to travel in 2025. I saw that in the UK travel magazine Wanderlust, Colombia is there, just for the beauty and so on, and the variety. I think in the Wall Street Journal has highlighted a few things from Colombia and the Magdalena River. I don't know if yet Colombia is on the 52 places list of the New York Times, although I have a sneaking suspicion it is, because one of the photographers was staying with us recently. So I have a sneaking suspicion. If that doesn't happen, I will be very upset. But at the same time, life goes on, and we'll keep on the world will keep on spinning on its axis, and we'll be fine. But I've noticed there's a lot of buzz around Colombia again. We feel once again that we are stepping, I don't want to say stepping beyond, but stepping into that realm of another, once again, post-COVID emerging tourism destination. Because we're not fully out there, but we sort of have so much to offer, and I still think we're emerging. Do you think emerging is a particularly good description, or am I being a bit I would be cautious?
No, no, it's not. No, you are being cautious.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are emerging. Yeah. Okay, Colombia has so much to offer. That's the thing. I mean, I know I offer so many destinations, but there's so much more.
Yeah.
There's so much more than what I offer. So many places that I still need to go. It's a case of, I heard, somebody went, one of my co-workers went to the Copa de 16 in Cali last year. And she was saying how they did all these reports and stuff, and they think that there's a possibility of an extra 300% in tourism in Colombia, sustainable tourism in Colombia, because there is so much to see here, so many different locations that you can go to here, that you can explore and uncover new cultures, new customs, old cultures, I should say, and customs. Everything is just spectacular. But because there's so many different locations, it's easy to have a massive opportunity of growth here. And emerging is correct, I think, because Colombia isn't the place to go, and so it's high on everybody's list, but it's growing to a point that I don't know how to explain. It's just it's so much further that it can go. It's emerging out of the water, but there's so much. It's like I'm going to go off on a tangent. It's like one of those huge, humpback whales that we get every year in the Pacific coast. And they're coming out of the water, and you just see its head. Then all of a sudden, there's more of it and more, and it's just huge. And then all of a sudden, there's a big splash before it goes, before it's worldwide sensation. That's, I don't know if you could picture that. But
I can picture it because I've seen it. So I've seen the humpback whales breaching, and I like that image for Colombian tourism. As the heads coming out, and then so much more of it. It's just, that's what we say. There's just too much potential here, but it's potential that can be harnessed. There is there is a very skilled population here. It's just a question of putting it together, the right people doing it, and as you said, making it sustainable, not just environmentally, economically. It's the thing, isn't it? It's not just a flash in the pan. That COP, was it 16? COP 16 that they had in Cali, of course, represented a massive boom for the Pacific coast and for Cali in that region. But I'm curious though, because the government has been coming out, the end of the year with all of these massively positive figures on tourism and international tourism. And as you said, it dropped off for 6 months for you. It dropped off for 6-7 months for us. I wonder where they get some of those figures from, because I look at them and I have friends, and I won't sigh in relative boredom over Cartagena, but Cartagena being the eternal city of Colombian tourism, they were empty in Cartagena too. So if Cartagena is empty, then there's nobody. And so I wonder where the government figures have come from.
My understanding, there was an increase in tourism, as there is basically every year here, but it was all for sport and medical tourism. So it's the under-20s, which are, international under-20s. We're playing in Colombia, and then there's the medical tourism is just growing and growing because, the peso, you get so much for your, dental surgery here might cost you $1,000 as opposed to 10 or 20,000. It's ridiculous how much cheaper stuff is here for that sort of thing. But those two things were the huge, huge growth last year.
So this is interesting. There was was it a World Cup? Was it? I can't even remember.
Under-20s World Cup, I think it was.
Under-20s World Cup, because I saw some of the teams around here in Bogota. I saw the Australian team wandering around and so on, and that was great. But then, can this? And health tourism, of course, these are big, but are these the millions of people that they're trying to make out that came? I don't know. I guess this is something to look into over time. But health tourism is a huge one. And I would say that Colombians living overseas and doing health tourism is a certain thing, because all Colombians I know that live in the UK, for example, and their one trip or their 2 trips back to Colombia a year, they go and see their dentist, their doctor. They do all their annual checkups because it's so much cheaper for them to come back and do it. So I think that will probably get rolled in there as well.
Absolutely. I have a sister who lives here, or usually lives here, lives in Bogota. And she's back in New Zealand for the last 3 or 4 years because she's got a son who's going to university, just starting there. So she wants to get him all sorted, and she wants her kids to start another life in New Zealand and get comfortable there and decide whether they want to come back to Colombia. But she comes back, she's still coming over, and every time it's exactly what you're saying. Dentist. That's it. It's like they will go and plan their trip exactly. How long do we need? Is there a checkup? Is there a follow-up? And they might be here for a month. And on day 2, when they're here at the dentist, and day 29, dentist, just to make sure. Anything else is, things that you can buy here as well, which you don't necessarily need a prescription for. Where everywhere else you do. Yeah. So they also stock up on that sort of thing also.
All right. So we can see this, but were they saying it's more than 4 million last year, 2024, 4 million something? They want to go up to like 6 this year, I think it is, or 6 million something by 2026. These are leaps and bounds for a country still, with a lot of issues. And of course, one of the first things we talk about when we discuss travel here is security and safety. It's leaps and bounds. But let's go. I digress. I want to go into some of these key terms and phrases that I've been reading in in all of this media coverage and expert coverage of tourism and tourism trends for 2025. And the first one that I like was no real phrase. It's just that I saw in Condé Nast Traveler that baby boomers are spending their children's inheritance. So that seems to be our market, Bruce. That's who we need to look at, is baby boomers.
Exactly. To be honest, for quite a while, that older generation has been my market.
Yeah?
They are the ones who can travel any time of the year. They have so much more freedom. They don't need to worry about getting back to work. Their kids are grown up, left home. They don't need to worry about school holidays. Great market.
So baby boomers, we're going to be talking like 65 plus?
Easy. Yeah.
Easy?
It's going to make it some Spanglish then. Most of my market would be, I'd say a good 90% over 50s. And out of that, probably 60 plus or over 70 actually. I get quite a few over 70s as well. A lot of couples over 70s or friends, like a group of 4 or 6 who are just, all friends who want to do something and travel. They are traveling the world. I mean, it's not just Colombia they're coming to. They're going everywhere.
That's great.
But it's a great way.
So I think, when I get into I'm not far off 50. Let's not talk about that much more, though. But when I'm up there in those years, then I'm going to spend my children's inheritance. If there is any, I'll spend it. If there isn't, then it's another story. But anyway, baby boomers are spending children's inheritance. Another thing I saw, which I liked, was the nostalgia in travel. So it was some sort of neurological institute has coined the phrase rosy retrospections. But this has been now applied to nostalgia and travel. And there was an opinion poll taken, and 90% of Brits who were polled, they are visiting or planning to visit the same places as when they were young. So I think that means we need to look at the people who came through Colombia or South America when they were backpackers, and now they have some disposable cash to come back with their partners or their families.
Exactly. I think two things about that. Yes, I agree 100%. It's those people who came, and it's because of he who shan't be named, who made Colombia famous. And in the 80s, 90s, he brought Colombia on the map for backpackers, and they just wanted to go somewhere because they're young and adventurous and want that risk, and they want to come back as well. But I also think it's a growing thing for me, which has surprised me, is there are a number of Colombians who left at the same time as things were really bad during 80s, 90s, before I was here, similar to how it is in Mexico and a number of places, I believe. So they were leaving to go to the US or other places, and now they want to come back, show their family where they grew up in different places that they don't know, that they haven't been to for 20, 30, 40 years. I've got some people actually coming in 2 weeks' time for exactly this reason.
Really?
He's actually a guy who lives in the UK, and he hasn't been back for like 40 years. And now he's coming with his wife and 2 kids. I mean, and that's how it is. It's a growing thing as well.
So I see that as a very big potential market. I do see that as a very big potential market, especially if you've like you said, he hasn't been here in however many years, however many decades, to see progress. And again, there is that retrospection, there is that nostalgia as well. But of course, they left during a more turbulent time, so it's about making a new memory. I think that's pretty exciting. Could you imagine if we were able to tap into all of the Colombians and the diaspora living in the US to come back and visit in that nature? I think we would be laughing. There would be no struggle ever again.
You're right. There's a lot of them over there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here's another thing that I saw pop up as well. I can't remember who did. The issue of trailblazer hotels. So hotels themselves becoming a destination. So people looking at usually boutiques, but obviously other more iconic ones. And in this case, I would say it's the Four Seasons in Cartagena that is due to open in a few months' time. That is, I guess, a trailblazer hotel because it's going to have something like 5 or 6 restaurants in there. The the chapel, the church, which is now incorporated into the building, which is La Tercera Orden. Why do I know that so well? Because I was married in it before it's now becoming fashionable.
Okay.
So I now know it. I know it. I knew it before it was fashionable. So therefore, but all of that, that is really, I would say, not everyone is going to be able to go to the Four Seasons in Cartagena, but the very reporting and publicity surrounding it will, throw a further light on what there is in Colombia. So I think Trailblazer Hotel is definitely a key one. Are there any other Trailblazer hotels you can think of in Colombia that you'd say people will come because of this place?
El Nido de Condor.
Oh,
I don't know if
I haven't been, but I know it. Yeah.
That one, close to Manizales, so it's not too far from where I live. Spectacular. I get that gets mentioned to me quite often, but there's also another one. Quinta, Los Tamales de Quinta. I think I'm saying that wrong. It's Quinta something or other, which is also another one near Manizales. Caldas. Like I'm in the Caldas region.
Yeah.
It's a growing place, especially around Manizales. There's some beautiful destinations around there and some really nice hotels. Not just, ones that I've basically discovered because of bird watchers. Like I'm not a bird watcher. I do have a bird feeder and we like watching the birds, but we don't, I'm not like somebody who can remember their names. I just think, well, it's a pretty blue and black bird. But it's these birding destinations have some really nice accommodation, which people absolutely love, which aren't just the birders. So definitely around in Caldas, around Manizales. I really like Sasagua, actually, close to Pereira.
Yeah,
that's
me
one
too.
of my favorites.
That's just on the outskirts, isn't it?
Yes.
I like Sasagua too. Yeah.
Yep.
I'd say that's a destination hotel, definitely.
Yes, they've actually, they're going to love me mentioning this as well. They've actually opened up another one, which is in the Cocora Valley. So Sasagua have the two different hotels now. So they'll be happy when I see them.
What's the new one called?
Sasagua.
Oh, Sasagua as well. Sasagua Cocora.
Sasagua Cocora. That's it.
There we go. I could have guessed that.
Calanoa in the Amazon. Calanoa in the Amazon is a nice one too.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes.
And there's a new one. Buru. It's not Baru, but Buru. Buru. That's in the Amazon as well, close to Leticia.
Really?
So it's not so it's a great one, especially for those people who arrive later after lunch, more or less. If you fly into Leticia after lunch, because the boats go on the river at the latest, the public boat, I think it's 1:30 if I recall correctly, if not 2. And you've got to get to your destination before it's night, because obviously there's no street light. So there, it's close to Leticia, and it's really nice. So if you're arriving there, it's really nice, really nice. I really like it. So that's definitely one that I'd tip as well.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
Now,
Thank you.
Condor, before you go, the Nido, I want to just, I've not been, I should go, I know it, I know the owners, but is it sort of just like perched on a cliff edge? Is that what you would say? Because it is the condor's nest.
Yeah, but it's glamping. They're tents, huge tents, permanent, but they're there, and it's really cool. It's like you're outside, but inside. It's glamping is really taking off. It's a big thing. Not everywhere in Colombia you can do it, but it's like in the Cocora Valley. There's a few different places around there for glamping, and it's nice. But it's spectacular views from there. Just walking around, they've got some amazing paths. You can use some bikes there as well. It's really nice just to disconnect. It's one of those disconnect, just nature around you. It's not like jungle sort of nature, but it's spectacular. It's
your high altitude nature up there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. High altitude stuff.
Well, this feeds into the next one, because you're talking about disconnecting, and that's one of the next big deals is people going away to disconnect, actually to not have cell phone connection, because they don't want to be called on their holiday. I want it, and that was I saw that on a few articles actually. I've seen that across the board. People looking to be actually not be contacted. And there's a lot of Colombia where you won't get signal.
Yes, yeah, there is. That's true. There's my travelers tend to want it mostly.
Yeah.
I've got to say that mostly the destinations I take people to, they will have, most of them, if they're that remote, then they'll have a Starlink, a satellite. So people have that internet. People, I don't know if it's a case of fear of not being contacted, as much
also,
as disconnecting,
Also,
people,
checking in with your family. I mean, that's normal.
yeah.
You're in Colombia as well. Come on. I mean, let's check in with your family. There was another poll, and this feeds into something that I love. Explore Worldwide took an online poll of 2,000 people, Britons again, of which 72% of them said that a novel, any book, had inspired them to travel somewhere new. Now, this plays into my sphere of influence because of the Netflix series of 100 Years of Solitude, the Gabriel Garcia Marquez novel, now a 2-season series. We have had a huge upturn in interest once again because of that Netflix series. As soon as it was announced, the release dates, international agencies, I don't remember BNBColombia asking, but international agencies were back in touch and asking me to look over their new blogs and updated posts to include Mompos and so on. So I feel that while it's, obviously it's a series and not technically a novel, but I feel that there is this side of things. Do you get that kind of inquiry as well? People looking for something that Encanto is another movie that obviously has drawn people in.
I do, but not as much. Having said that, I don't get that many of those inquiries. I get inquiries about people wanting to see Colombia in general, and then they're like, oh, but what about this, Mccoll? Can we go there, or can we go to the Cienega and pass there? Because I know there's something about the Cienega and the bananas and something. I'm like, bananas, you've got to piece together what people have heard, and yes, of course we can do it. And something about Mompox. Yeah, Mompox, yes. That's the destination.
You know who's there.
I know.
You mentioned earlier on, a lot of your clients are friends, groups of friends. There was been a lot of mention of all women only trips. Have you dealt with anything like that?
I've done one all women only group, just the one so far. But reality, I don't focus on that sort of group, but sometimes I think about it as well, because we get a lot of inquiries for single women travelers, a lot. And as you know, traveling by yourself, it costs a lot more than traveling with other people. You're paying, it's one person or two people. It's, you're paying for the guide, you're paying for the accommodation, you're paying for the transport, all by yourself. So it's basically twice, you're basically paying for a second person anyway. Yeah. So it does cost so much. And we get so many who inquire and ask, have you got any groups or women only groups or anything like that? I'm like, no, but no, it's not something we offer. But I have got an agent who is based in Canada who focuses on that, and she sent one group to us so far. So that may become an ongoing thing and may increase. But
I could see it being something for like a couple of groups a year. I could see it growing to that. And also, I know that there's a women-only birding group. They've been down to Sierra Nevada, Santa Marta, and all that area. I had many years ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago. I interviewed them. They got in touch with me. Actually, it was really great. And all of their birding guys and everything, they were all women and local women. So it was a huge deal. Obviously, incredibly empowering and I think kind of groundbreaking in Colombia, really, something of that nature. So it's quite exciting that there are these opportunities. And so you've done one. One is more than many.
One is more than many. Yeah. You know what? Also, I also think is a growing one is not gay tourism, but tourism for gay people. Yeah, I know that shouldn't be a big deal, and for me, it's not a big deal if somebody's gay or not. But because there is certain places or certain destinations where they're not welcome. It's a key point when we do have gay travelers. They actually go and make sure they mention to us, okay, I'm coming with my boyfriend, my husband, whatever, or my wife, make sure that we know that the hotel is fine with that and that sort of thing. But everywhere we send people is fine. But it's an increasing thing, and it's sort of surprised me, to be honest with you. The first time when I was getting asked, is it gay friendly? Is Medellin okay? Was Cartagena, can we go? Are we going to be okay? And is there gay clubs? And yeah, there are. There's gay places we can take you. You don't have to. I've even got some gay guides as well that we can send with you as well. So it's all okay, but it's an increasing thing that people are saying. I'm not sure why they're saying it more now, but it seems to be a bigger deal.
I mean, I don't know, but I guess the one thing is to be aware, let's say that there's no, unnecessary snafu, let's say, a check-in or something like that in a hotel. Just to have it, just to have it just be facilitated with no sort of, because we're still in a part of the world where we're coming. Well, though. I haven't actually said. I would say that Colombia is incredibly gay friendly. I would say it is in most circumstances.
I know a lot of gay people.
Yeah, but I guess if you're a foreign gay couple, then maybe you just want things to be smoothed over. I don't know, just that it was, so there doesn't have to be any sort of okay, kind of moment.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think. It's now I get it. Who wants that? You just want to be treated like everybody else, So I would suggest it's on that level. It's we get a lot of gay couples in Mccoll, but again because everyone feels safe there. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's a small town. Nobody cares. That's interesting, though. That's interesting. And of course, there's it's out in Colombia, the gay specific travel agency based out of Medellin as well. So it's there's a lot growing in that market. Now, this is I've got two favorite new things that I've read. Now, I'm not up with the cool kids and the hip kids, even though I have children. They would never tell me. But there was the FOMO, that's FOMO, and it's the fear of missing out. Apparently, that's what they write. I guess that's what they text. And now there's something called JOMO, JOMO, which is the joy of missing out. And this is sort of directed in the travel market towards people choosing fewer locations, staying longer, avoiding places of over-tourism and so on. Therefore, Cartagena, we'll whisper it now, Cartagena. But do you get that feeling about people who are just like, we want to go where we want to go and we don't need to go to the most significant tourism attractions within the country?
Yes, I do. Not everybody. A lot of people like to go to the popular destinations. But I find that when I'm talking to people, it's a case of, okay, what experiences do you want to enjoy? And it's more about what you want to enjoy. And then I'll go and tell, okay, we can send you over here. We could take you to, if you want to go to the wax palm forest, you want to go to Salento and Cocora Valley, we can do that, but if you want to go to somewhere else, which is another level, a bit more spectacular, as far as I'm concerned, is going to Salamina and then to San Felix for the Valle de Cimeria, for the wax palm forest there, which is, Cocora Valley, spectacular, absolutely love it. Probably 90% of our travelers who come to the coffee zone go there, absolutely adore it. But it's a place with hundreds of wax palms. Go to San Felix and there's thousands. It's just another level. The Salamina itself, the historic town, it's one of the Pueblos Histórico Patrimonium, and the sculptures there, the woodwork on the balconies, the flowers, the doors, beautiful doors. It's something spectacular. For me, I absolutely love it. I love just walking around that area. And it's something that's not really touristy because it's that little bit harder to get to. But you have to have that bit of extra time to get there. But definitely that is one of the locations. But yeah, there's the other locations. Off the beaten path, costs a bit more, takes longer to get to, but it's definitely worth it and it's more enjoyable. It just means you have to come back again. That's it. You just have to come back again to do the other places.
I get people come and they want to tick off the famous places. I get that too, but also there's a different type of traveler also coming to Colombia because again, the reputation, the offering, what's going on out there, and so you can get different. I mean, very differently aimed tourism packets, tourism offers, and I think the idea of the joy of missing out is quite interesting. I think, I said, you don't need to. I guess a few years ago when I went for the first time ever, and I took my family, I'd never been to Paris. We didn't do a lot of the tourist stuff. First and foremost, I wasn't going to wait 4 hours to go into the Louvre, and not with small kids. So that gave me a joy of missing out, I guess. I guess ahead of the curve again. But it also allows you to go to, as you say, within an emerging destination of Colombia, more emerging destinations within Colombia itself. And you've mentioned a couple there. You were talking about Salamina, you were talking about San Felix. Yeah, I mean, that's your job, is to tell people what you can offer them, that they're going to get a similar or better experience and not be in there with the crowds if that's what they're looking for, which then brings me to my next phrase, because it kind of feeds in together, the destination dupe. So you can send people to Salamina as opposed to Salento, and these are places that look and feel similar, but are not as expensive, and it's not the same location. So there you go. I love that. It's the destination dupe. So instead of going to what would be the most obvious ones here? Instead of going to Tayrona, going on further up into Palomino, or vice versa, or is there someone else? Well, obviously, in my perspective, instead of going to Cartagena, come to Monpós, places that look similar to, but are not as expensive as the original location. Can you think of others where you could dupe?
Where I can dupe. Somewhere that's similar, but not necessarily more economical. Because I find that the places which are those destinations that are the popular destinations are more economical, just quite simply. The roads are better to get there, the infrastructure is better, the flights go close to, if not right there, so those are generally more economical. The other places that are similar cost a little bit more, which may be better. Like here, Mccoll. The Mccoll is beautiful. I absolutely love it. The jungle, and it's something amazing with the massive plants, of the leaves. Something that you'd think was made up. It's just, it can't be real that you have a giant leaf that's 2 meters. It just can't be, but it is. That sort of thing. And going from here into Mccoll, you can do so. In the Pacific coast, I think that is somewhere spectacular, which doesn't need. It has a growing destination for tourism because of the jungle and the nature there. But I'm going off on a tangent, so it's not really a dupe. But if you wanted to go and do something, okay, here's a tip. People love Cañon Cristales. Cañon Cristales, spectacular location that we send people to every year from mid-June to mid-November. Similar, wet season, so it's why it's the water plant's only available during that time of the year, which also is the same time of year that you can go whale watching on the Pacific coast, so you can do both at the same time. If you're going to do that, to go see these water plants there, it is spectacular. I absolutely love that destination. The views, it's just an amazing location. But not that far from there is San Jose del Guaviare, which has rock paintings, which are 12,000-odd-year-old rock paintings, which you can basically touch. So it's not so much behind the velvet rope. There are parts that you can't touch, but but it's spectacular, not just for that, but also for wildlife. There's much more opportunities to see. I think there's 16 different species of monkeys there, so many birds, anteaters, giant, small, armadillos, all sorts of wildlife there, pink dolphins you can see there. So you've got that, and you've also got the Red River, which also has the water plant that I can never remember the name of. I think it's the Macarena something or other.
Macarensis something.
Yeah, something like that. It's and that's, Colombia's the only place in the world that you can find this. So the beauty of going, if you don't have time to go to Cañon Cristales and San Jose de Guaviare, then you can just go to San Jose de Guaviare and get a similar experience to what you would get in Cañon Cristales and more. But it's also a good idea to go to both. One of my team just got back from there. It's like, jealous. We're getting a number more inquiries from that. We've got somebody who just contacted us the other day, wants to go for 10 days there. And they were only there a couple of years ago for 4 days. And I'm like, okay, yeah. That's great. A lot more people interested in that. And Casanare, growing destination.
I love it.
The wildlife there. And there's so many different locations. I have to go back as well. There's so many different homesteads that you can go to in different locations that might only be 2 hours away or 6 or 8 hours away. There's, some that you can only, there's only like a month of a year or 6 weeks of the year that you can actually get there by car. Other than that, you've got to go by horseback. But, it's spectacular destination. So much wildlife. It's just, Colombia just has it all. As you know, it just has it all.
What would you say about destination detours as well? That's something else. I didn't, where people go, okay, they're driving, let's say they're driving, in Spain, and they're driving in the south and they get close to Cordoba, but they're nearby, for example, there's the city of Jaén. And so they just sort of detour off. In Colombia, there's a lot of opportunity for that. Your destination is, let's say, okay, you're going somewhere in the coffee zone. You want to go into, you're in Viterbo, right? That's where you are in the coffee zone?
Yes.
Nearby, you've got to have some great towns as well. And so these become detours.
Belalcázar.
Belalcázar. Okay.
Very close. It's got a giant statue of Jesus. It's 45 meters tall. Apparently, if you count the base, it's taller than the one of Rio de Janeiro. But what's cool about this? I know you've got to count it. You can climb up inside the statue, so you can actually go up, and the stairs just get smaller, and it's more claustrophobic as you're going up and up and up. But there's these different holes, and then the highest point you can get out and look out his nostrils, and that is something spectacular. It's a beautiful view. Well, not from the nostrils so much, but below that. It's been a bit.
But for me, the attraction is now to be able to look out of the Jesus Christo's nostril. Now I'm interested.
Yeah. But it's not just that.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, well, from there you can see, because it's on a peak. It's on a mountain peak.
Yeah.
Belalcázar, it's a narrow town. On the peak of this mountain range, and so looking down, you see Viterbo down there. We're in a valley down below. But you can see, looking down the other side and go, on clear days, you can just see for hundreds of miles. And in theory, you can actually see as far as Bogota, in theory, because there's no other mountains blocking your way, which obviously, I can't. But you can see Manizales, and apparently there's like 4 different states you can see from there. You can also see one river going north and on one side and one river on the other side going south, which is something extremely rare anywhere. See one river going one way because they nearly always go the same way.
Yeah,
but here, no.
That's pretty cool. But I like the idea of destination detours, things that you weren't considering, and then just sort of veer off. Obviously, my one for that would be going to Onda and then detouring for a little while to Ambalema, for example. Ambalema is absolutely beautiful along the Magdalena River, but Onda, obviously, because it's right on the highway, takes the plaudits. But if you detoured off or up indeed into Mariquita and places like that, these are just all incredible opportunities. And I think that Colombia then therefore lends itself perfectly, more than destination duping, destination detours. I think I don't like the idea so much. I like the phrase, but I don't like the idea of duping anyone. I mean, it's a bit of a dishonest feeling to it.
Yeah. No, there's no. Yeah. No, we don't do that here.
So we've come we've come to the conclusion then, both you and I. Casanare, Guaviare, phenomenal places to visit. Obviously, we both love the Chocó as well. Coffee Zone is incredible. You are now with BNBColombia Tours. You are promoting all sorts of national parks. The limits are unending. I mean, there are no limits to what we can, the possibilities to travel here in Colombia, and that's why it makes such a nice conversation at the beginning of the year, where we're upbeat. Things are looking great. Things are looking great till 2026. I guess it's going to be a good year. Let's say that now. It's going to be a good year. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We'll see. Well, you and I will see one another at the tourism fair here in February. I guess it is February. Around then, we'll both be looking weary after 3 days of meetings. And
yes, absolutely.
Will you be coming with your partner in crime who comes each year as well?
Natalia will be there. Yes.
Yeah, she makes me laugh.
She loves it. She loves promoting this amazing country. Absolutely.
Oh, good stuff.
Speaking of things that there is no limit, this is another thing. This is a selfless plug. For the other part, the new part of the business, Incentive Travel Colombia. Okay. We have got a number of meetings set up already in February at the Travel Mart in Bogota, which are just focusing on MICE travel. So for those people who don't know what MICE is, it's meetings, incentives, congresses, events. Okay. It is a huge market, growing everywhere in the world, and Colombia is an amazing place for it. We have got some spectacular destinations, and it just makes me think. Whenever somebody says, there are no limits, that's how I see it. With the people that we know, if you need, that concert, if you want to, we've for a friend of a friend, we've now got the manager's details of Shakira. So if somebody really wants something spectacular, we can get Shakira here. Something like that. I've got some amazing speakers, international speakers that we can get that, aren't economical, as Shakira isn't either. But we can, any sort of experience that people want for their business, for a congress or whatever it may be, or incentives, especially for those sorts of groups. I think Colombia it's more bang for your buck. It's 4,500 pesos for $1 US at the moment. So even with the airfares, it's a better experience. The Caribbean is where everybody wants to go, but it is just there is no limit to what Colombia can do. And not only that, your team are going to absolutely love you for bringing you to a country like this, where they can then stay an extra couple of days to go and do something else.
So next time you're in touch with Shakira, I'd like to have her on the show, please.
I'll send a message. I was actually in Barranquilla a couple of months ago and just had to get a photo with the Shakira statue as well.
With the statue.
Yeah.
From what I see, around that statue, there's zero shade at all. It's you're just out there frying like bacon, trying to hide in the shadow of Shakira.
That's pretty much it. They have got some palm trees there. I saw they've got some palm trees there that are a meter or two high, some of them, but it's going to take a while.
That's forward planning then.
It's forward planning. But I like Barranquilla. I really rate Barranquilla. I love it. I think it's a great place for it to stop in between Santa Marta, stop there for a couple of hours, go get a photo of Shakira, go to, you know what to see there? The museum,
of the Caribbean.
No, what's it called?
The Carnival?
Carnival
Yeah,
Museum.
I've been to both.
That is great. That
Yeah.
really surprised me how amazing that is. That's a
Well,
really good one.
you see, Barranquilla has always been overlooked due to, it's got a more famous city to one side and then a beach destination to another side. And so it's always been that business city in the middle. But if you go there with a proposal for any business, they will make it happen. And that's why I like Barranquilla. Because, for example, there is, what do they call themselves? Alma Air, who are opening the float planes that were going to go from Cartagena to the Islas of Rosario and then probably down to Monpós and then perhaps beyond that. They were having trouble with the authorities in Cartagena with licensing and so on. So they went straight over to Barranquilla, and Barranquilla just went, yes. And that's when Cartagena woke up again and went, oh, no, we'll have you back. We'll have you back. Because you can go to Barranquilla with any option and they'll go, yes. And that's the big difference. There's no pretense surrounding it. They want your business. And that's why I like Barranquilla. Every time I go to do anything, it's done. Every time I go to explain something, it's understood. And that's why I like Barranquilla. None of this, there's none of this sort of, shuffling around. Oh, we've never done it this way. Oh, we don't do this. We don't do that. They want to do it. So this is why Barranquilla has a can-do feeling to it in that respect.
And
the Caribbean coast is quite refreshing.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to get some workers and talk about positives. It's got a great history. Barranquilla's got an amazing history, which I don't remember a lot of it now. But it was. I had a fantastic guide who I'm really going to recommend to anybody who's going there. But it's a fantastic history there. It was number one city for so many things in Colombia, which I can't remember anything of now. I should have researched this. If I thought I was going to talk about it, I should have called them.
That's all right.
But it's good. I really recommend people to go there. If they need the details, if they're just going to stop over, I'll go and organize a fantastic guide for them there just for a few hours. Seriously, it's a good stop.
All right. BNBColombia. There you are, BNBColombia Tours. Bruce, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making this an excellent introduction to 2025 travel trends, not only Colombia-wise, but globally. Give us a plug of your hotel, not your hotels, your agencies and so on. Tell us the websites that people should go to.
Okay, we've got BNBColombia Tours. That one can be found at simply BNBColombia.com. The other one is called Incentive Travel Colombia. That website is incentivetravelcolombia.com. Okay, just to make it easy for everybody, we try to use the same words in the for the company.
Not hard at all. Incentivetravelcolombia.com and BNBColombia.com. Bruce, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to pick your brains later on and see if we can get that Barranquilla guide on to talk about Barranquilla.
I think it'd be great.
It would be great. I'd love to hear the proper history.
Yeah, because I'm terrible, apparently. But yeah, he is excellent. He's excellent at that. I've got some great people that I think would love to share some information with you. I've got this really good person in the Pacific Coast that I was just thinking about the other day who I think, she'll be perfect. Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, this has been episode 549 of the Colombia Calling podcast, the first episode of 2025. We've had a great conversation with Bruce Mclean of BNBColombia.com, BNBColombia Tours. So, yes, hit us up. You can write to me, you can write to Bruce, you can write to whomever, but come to Colombia because the pie is big enough for everyone. I genuinely believe that. Colombia has everything and it's limitless in its possibilities and what you can come and see here. So that'll be me signing off for episode 549. We'll be back next week with more Colombia-related stories and so on. I've got 16 or 17 people already lined up for interviews. So it's just a question of me knuckling down and doing them. But it's going to be a great year, everyone. I really feel it. So thank you again, Bruce. Thank you to the listeners. And, subscribe, share, and tell everyone about the podcast and about Colombia. Goodbye.